because one of the most important things to me with the blend and the taste of the cachaça is that it is approachable to the US consumer. I think that a huge part of the reason that cachaça hasn't taken off in the US, in a way similar to tequila 30 years ago. Tequila was kind of a well drink, and it was that gross Jose Cuervo kind of tequila.
It's
Uh,
all of it is that to me. It's not
for
Patron.
some people,
No.
some people have a blanket aversion to tequila, and I
Yeah.
respect that.
Yeah.
Um, but for me, so the cachaças that I taste tested as I started to do my market research, before I had left, I decided to jump in. Um, they can be very off-putting to the average American palate, and now it kind of made sense to me why it had never gained a foothold. So my goal was to create a cachaça and bring a cachaça to the market that would open up this spirit to a broader audience.
Mhm.
And when we blended it, we just I have a scale that I use for baking and everything like that, because I'm a math numbers brain kind of person.
Mhm.
So we were going by weight. So we were doing ratios of like 1:1:1 to 2:1:1, 1:2:2, whatever it was. And what the wood barrel aged cachaças lend to the blend is a roundness and a softness, I'm told.
Mhm.
Um,
I guess. I
like
mean, that's what they say. I'm just going
so
off of what they
so I
say.
can what I can say is when I taste it, I can taste that it is more pleasant on the palate. I
Yeah.
can't explain exactly why.
Right.
What my friends were, and the group that I had taste testing and troubleshooting the blend with me as we did this, was they were able to pinpoint whether it's the initial flavor, that roundness, or that finish. And so they were able, we tasted each of them individually, we tasted them in combination, and then we started to play with the ratios. And from there, we got a blend that has a really nice sharp bite, but it has that roundness from and smoothness from the wood with a dry finish, which is helpful when you want to create cocktails, because what you don't want is an overly sweet or caramelly finish. And the reason I chose the blend that I did is I think that it has more of that approachability to your average US consumer. So I have one of my blenders, one of my friends that helped me do the blend, is very much like you, complete aversion to tequila, one bad night in Belize in 10 years ago. She's never touched it since. um, but will drink has tried the cachaça and enjoyed it. And then I have other friends who really love tequila, and they try my blend and they think it kind of tastes a little bit like it could be from an agave.
Hmm.
And so it's a great way of selling it to people on why they should try it. If you like tequila, try cachaça. It's very much, I always say, tequila is to Mexico what cachaça is to Brazil. It is their national spirit. It is very wrapped up in their cultural identity. It's a huge part of their traditions and their history. But if you don't like tequila, as long as you like white rum, or if you're open to excuse me, other clear spirits, it's still enjoyable and it won't be off-putting.
Hmm. Yeah, I opened it up a while ago and gave it a sniff,
Mm-hmm.
expecting it to smell like tequila, and it doesn't smell like tequila at all.
No.
It smells really sweet. It does smell sweet, and
Yep.
kind of, maybe this might just be my nose is messed up, but kind of vanilla-y, but not heavy. It just smells kind of sweet.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have,
And so,
I don't know what it is that makes tequila smell like it does. It's like almost like a savory like flavor that tequila has, right? Like
well, so
almost.
the guy who does my bottling up at South Florida Distillers, he has a really good palate, and he had me try another cachaça that somebody else had brought to him, and as I sipped it, he looked at me and he goes, olives. And I went, oh yeah, you taste olive. Ugh. And so
Yeah.
what you end up with a lot of these cachaças is a funkiness, which some brands wear proudly. Like if you think about Scotch, if you're trying to get somebody into Scotch or drinking Scotch whiskey, you don't give them a Lafroig. You give them a Macallan or a Dewar's or something like that. That is
Something that
very.
doesn't taste like you ate a campfire.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And so, and maybe if they're into it, maybe eventually along their journey, they make it to that particular style of whiskey. But with if it's the same with cachaça, I think that a lot of the ones that have come in here have been really for they're either really, really cheap, um, gasoline, and it's almost like bad grappa, or they are in the 40 plus dollar a bottle range and they're ultra smooth, but they kind of have this like funkiness to them and they really lend themselves into that, quirky kind of flavor, which can be very off-putting to somebody who's not ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we tried to do was really make it approachable. And what you're probably smelling, and for anybody who doesn't know about how cachaça is made versus rum, for the longest time, it was called Brazilian rum until legislation passed that protected the name cachaça. But it's not rum. It is produced from fresh pressed sugarcane juice, where they ferment that and then they distill it. Rum is fermented and distilled from molasses, which is a byproduct of sugarcane production, which is why a lot of even clear rums will still have like that caramelly, very sweet sense to them. But and I think it's probably what you're smelling in the bottle. It's a little bit softer than if you picked up a bottle of Bacardi or something like that. The other thing is because it's still so close to the natural plant that it comes from, the sugarcane, it can take on some of that like terroir where it's produced. So it can be salinity, it can have some salinity to it. It can be organic. It can, coming from the rainforest or things like that. So it really becomes this broad, expressive spirit. And I know I'm waxing poetic, like I know what I'm talking about.
No, look, hey, I was just sitting here thinking, you've got to have moments where you're just proud of yourself. Like maybe after this podcast, you'll be thinking about how much you just rattled off about this, and you've been in it for a year. Like look, if you say you don't know what you're talking about, I'll tell you, you sound like you do. Like,
well,
I believe
I feel
you.
like I do now.
Yeah.
I feel like I do now. And an exciting part of launching this brand has really been the educational aspect of it. Because if you ask, maybe 1 in 5 people will know what a Caipirinha is and they'll have had a Caipirinha, but they won't know it's cachaça and they won't know it's the third most popular spirit in the world. And it's older than rum. So it predates rum, like Caribbean rum, by about 100 years.
Hey there, hope you enjoyed that clip. You can find more clips like this and full video episodes of the Small Stuff Podcast on our YouTube channel. You can also listen to full episodes of the Small Stuff Podcast in audio form wherever it is you get your podcasts: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Amazon Music, Audible, all the places. Also, follow us on social media. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. All the links are in the description. Have a nice day.